Well, hi everybody. This is definitely not the Dude's channel. This is definitely mine, and we start on time, don't we? Eh? We're no messing about. We start bang on. Well, it's 11 o'clock here in the evening in Scotland. Hi there, Sandy. What time is it over there for you in
It's
Wisconsin?
5 o'clock, 5
Five,
p.m.
5 o'clock. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yep. And what's the what time does it roughly get dark now?
About 7. I think
Yeah.
it's completely dark by around 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Winter's on the way.
Yep, we're exactly the same. I've often compared Wisconsin with the Scottish borders.
Really?
In fact, sorry, Wisconsin with Scotland in general. I believe that the population is within a couple of 100,000 of being the same.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Except that you have hotter summers and colder winters.
Oh, we have cold winters, all right.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it.
No, I can't imagine it. So I was just asking you if you've done anything wild recently, like driving around Manitou, around the block of the courthouse, banging on the horn. No, not done anything like that recently.
No, not recently, but I'd like to. I'd like to tell them where to go in no uncertain terms, but I don't. I'm a good little girl. Won't do it. So.
That rally was in June of last year. Was great fun, and
it was.
And I should explain that whilst I was there with just a t-shirt on, everybody else was absolutely freezing, and Eunice and yourself and Carla. I said, "Come on, let's jump in the car and just drive around the block a couple of times." And
yes,
with the heater on, and of course, every time we pulled outside the courthouse, blaring on the horn.
That was fun, Paul.
Oh yes, yeah.
And it warmed me up.
Exactly, it's one of those things you have to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I suppose really what I wanted to sort of kick off with would be, about the start of the season that the Packers have had. Impressed with them so far?
Oh yes, they're 2-0.
Yeah,
they're great.
Well, as long as they keep
Good
it
boys.
like that, as long as they keep winning and never lose, then that'll.
I don't know about this Sunday. I don't think they're going to make it this Sunday.
Oh,
they're playing the Saints, and I don't think they're going to make it. So don't say anything. Don't tell anybody I said that.
I won't. We won't tell anybody.
No.
No. How far away? Yeah. How far away from Manitou are you then?
It must be a little over an hour's drive, so it must be around 50-some miles on crazy roads, of course, 2-lane highways. But yeah, it must be just a little over an hour of the drive from Manitou.
Yes, yeah.
Not bad.
I think when me and the dude went across to Eagle Nation Cycles, we weren't very far from you then, is that right?
You were less than a mile from me.
There you go. Yes. Yes. Okay. And so after Ash, how did you first get interested? Because you didn't just watch a documentary. You were there right from the go, more or less. How did you first sort of develop an interest in Stephen's plight?
Well, as a lot of people know, it was my husband's fault.
Oh,
it's all his
it's always
fault.
The husband's to blame.
It is. Most of the time, it was his fault. Everything that happened. No, he had followed the story on Steve's first case, and of course, it was a household name, Stephen Avery, when he was released after 18 years. And my husband took a big interest in him, thinking how horrible, that was. That he sat there all that time, and finally, ta-da! The hair didn't belong to him that they found. So it was a sad story from the beginning. And then when he was accused of murder, right when Teresa went missing, before he was even arrested, my husband said, "This is crazy. He didn't do this." And so he got me interested in it, and of course, one thing led to another, and I started writing Stephen when he was in jail. Started following the case, and then got quite involved with it and started trying to help him the best way I could, which didn't do much good, but at least I tried, and did everything that I could think of. We had attorneys, of course, then and before the trial, and we thought we were going to win, and of course we didn't. And it was a sad, sad day when they said he was guilty, and I'll never forget that day as he sat there shaking his head because he too couldn't believe that they actually found him guilty. They just did not have the evidence to prove that he was guilty. They just didn't. There was reasonable doubt all over the place, Paul. I don't know, there was no doubt that it was a reasonable doubt situation. But he was found guilty, and one thing led to another. I started visiting, well, I was visiting him before anyway. Right. And we got quite involved, and my husband passed away shortly after that. And then, of course, we started looking for another attorney, and he, of course, tried to file his own habeas. Yeah. And I looked for attorneys, and I helped him try to file his own, which turned out to be a bad thing because it bit him in the butt. He shouldn't have done it, but we tried, and it was a 24/7 just about trying to find an attorney that would take it pro bono. There was no money, we had to do it pro bono, and I had so many rejections from different attorneys, if anything at all. Sometimes they didn't do anything, but it got so frustrating for me because I knew the man was innocent. There's no doubt in my mind. And I thought, what can I do to help besides look for an attorney? And it was just, I would go and take the computer and look up habeas attorneys, and I'd email, I'd snail mail, I'd phone call, everything. Mm-hmm. And most of them were no's. Some of them, well, if you've got the money. One in Arizona said, oh, I love this case. This is just down, my cup of tea, so to speak. Yeah. But $25,000 to start. Okay, well, bye. Because we don't have it. Yeah. So it was a long road, but the more I got involved in it, the more interested I got in it, because I saw more and more of the craziness that had happened, and that none of it made sense. First of all, Teresa was killed in two different places, but in two different ways, really? Yeah. And no proof of either one? Come on now. And it just, one thing led to another, Paul. I just couldn't walk away from it, and I never did. I mean, the rest of the story, and got involved with him personally, and then uninvolved. It just went on, and we're still good friends.
Yeah. Please just backtrack a little bit though to your pursuit of Kathleen Zellner.
No, it happened for I stalked the woman is what I did. I think it was in September of in September of 2011, if I remember right. We watched the Ryan Ferguson story. Steve had seen that advertised, and he said, just pay attention, see what that lawyer's like. So we both watched it, and I said to myself, I'm sitting here by myself, said, self, this is the woman that's going to get him out. I mean, I was sure of it. Yep. And so then my stalk began, and it went on for 4 years. And Steve sent her a lot of the information. He made copies and sent them to her. We didn't hear anything, and then finally she wrote to him and emailed me and said, I can't do pro bono right now. I've got too many other cases, and I just can't do it. But I thought maybe someday she would. And the day that I got that email was on a Sunday, and I'll never forget the joy of getting that email saying that if you still want me, I thought, are you kidding me? After 4 years of stalking you? They actually knew my voice at the office. Wow. Got the office manager when I would call, say, hi, Sandy. Every week. Yeah. Oh, the poor woman. She must have thought, what is wrong with this gal? But it paid off in the end, because she apparently had kept a lot of the stuff of Stephen and was able to look through it again after the documentary. And she's been terrific, Paul. She's been absolutely terrific. I couldn't ask for anything better than what she is. She's done everything and then some. Yeah. And it was worth the 4 years of stalking. It really was.
Yes, I suppose it's a case of thank goodness for Netflix, because it opens so many people's eyes,
Yeah.
and I was gobsmacked when I watched Making a Murderer for the first
Mhm.
time. First of all, the fact that it was 10 episodes, 10-hour-long
Yeah.
episodes that really dug into it. But really, what annoyed me, and I've said this many a time, what I did was, in the same way that you stalked Kathleen Zellner, I definitely stalked Robert Herman, and pestered him,
I know you did.
pestered the life out of him, and it didn't pay off, apart from the fact that he retired last year, probably just to avoid my phone calls. But
Probably so.
yeah, yeah. But I was gonna sort of ask you, probably of all the people, Steve, probably better than anybody, really.
I do.
And I just wondered if I've got this right, that I can't imagine what it's like to be locked away for 18 years. Particularly when he was just started a young family, 5 kids, 22, 23 years old.
23.
It would be, to do 18 years, it would be like sort of somebody pressing pause on your life. And when he gets out, although he's in his 40s, 41, he would surely be feeling like he's just starting up again.
Right. Oh, yeah. It had to have been so horrible for him. And he's kept his good spirits through all of this.
Yeah.
He keeps his spirits up, he keeps his hope up, and he keeps his sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been locked down, literally locked down,
Mm-hmm.
since the 10th of March. And still, he can be joking. He called this morning. He's joking just like always. And he doesn't get to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they throw the meals at him. And so this, on top of being locked up for 14 years for something he didn't do, here he is locked down for another 6+ months.
Yeah.
And plus, he had COVID too, and thank God it didn't get bad with him.
Sure.
But, I don't know how he keeps his sanity, say nothing about his good spirit. And I credit a lot of it to supporters,
Mm-hmm.
that he knows that there's people out there that believe in him, that know he's not guilty, and it makes him feel loved. I know it. There's no doubt in my mind. And he's always thinking about the supporters. He'll mention them constantly.
Right.
Tell him this, tell him that, tell him I'm doing good, tell him happy Labor Day was the last one, and happy
Right.
Mother's Day, and all these, he's got to say it. And it's because I think he feels that love, and it's wonderful that he does. I can't say thank you enough to these people out there that write to him, and those people that he phones periodically. And it just makes him feel like he's worth something, instead of this piece of cow dung that's just been slung aside. And I don't know, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what he's doing. I think I'd crawl the walls and go completely loony.
Yeah, I can't help thinking that if you were guilty of something and you were locked
Right.
up, then you would have nothing to keep you going at all, would you? Because you would
Right.
know that there's no hope. But the fact that
Right.
he must have huge hope now, and confidence, if you like. That
He does.
yeah,
There's no doubt. Yeah, he does. He will say it every day. He just said it yesterday, I think it was. And he said, well, you probably won't come to see me here anymore. And when the COVID goes away, you'll probably not come to see me. And his, why? You taking me off the list or what? Joking. He goes, no, I'll be out.
yeah,
And I said, oh, well, that's a good thing. And I mean, that's how confident he is in Kathleen. And I will have to say, I've got a lot of optimism this time with the appellate court. I do. This is the first time. This is the first time I felt optimistic at all. So I hope it's not in vain. I hope I don't get shot down, because I truly believe they're going to do the right thing.
Well, I believe they've got to do something. They cannot ignore this state statute that was a state statute written by the guy that hands back these cremains. I mean, if they were that unimportant, they would have been handed back right after the trial. They kept them for 3 or 4 years and then decide to try and secretly hand them back.
Mm-hmm.
It's
when they did it, and I think this is my opinion. It's Stevens also. When he was in basketball, the
yeah,
phone calls weren't just recorded, but there was
yeah,
a guard there with us. They heard everything that we ever said.
yeah,
September of 2011 was when we started to get Kathleen Zellner, or
right.
trying to get her. That was the month and year they sent those bones to the Hallbucks.
Mm,
I just think there's a reason for that. I
sure.
think that they were thinking, oh boy, we better get rid of this evidence before she gets on the case.
Yeah,
I could be all wrong, but that's my feeling, and Stephen agrees with me that
sure.
it's a very odd coincidence that would happen the same year and same month.
Hmm.
And now, even if there was some way to exhume those remains, which would be a horrible thing anyway,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if they were done, the chain of custody is already broken. And what can you do with them now? You can't prove anything from them now. So it's
Hmm.
a lost cause.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No,
the sad thing, Paul, is that none of these people will ever face consequences for doing what they did. They've got the protection, they will never face anything. And that bothers me big time.
yeah. You say that, but when the tide turns against these people, they can find it very, very difficult, can't they? As if once public opinion has been altered and a new direction looked at, there could be huge repercussions here, because I mean it's going to be a history breaking occurrence to have Stephen Avery
Right.
walk free for a second time, having been, you know,
That's right.
I we use the word wrongfully convicted, but it's worse than that. It's not by accident. It's not
No,
a misunderstanding. It's not through a lack of communication. It's plain. It's deliberate. That was
that's
the
right.
thing that annoyed me about Herman, was the fact that I came from the point of view that I've got friends in law enforcement here in Scotland. You are causing policemen throughout America. You're causing them to have a bad name.
Yes,
You really do need to address this. And he was like, nothing's going to happen. And boy, a sheriff's department going to be in for a shock. Anyway, what I did want to ask you about, and this is a tricky one, so we have to be careful, because I mean, obviously, Steve suffering from having been found guilty twice, wrongfully. You don't want to point fingers in the wrong direction. But I was going to ask, does Steve himself now have a notion as to what went on with Teresa's
no,
disappearance? No.
no, he doesn't. And if he does, he's never said it.
Yeah.
He will not, and I give him credit for that too. He won't point fingers at
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
He will not.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even there's been so many suspects that we've talked about, because there's plenty of them out there. But he won't. He will
Mm-hmm.
not say, at least to me, he never has.
Sure. Yeah.
The only other person that he would confide in that I know of would be Mark. And as
Yeah.
far as I know, he hasn't to him either.
Sure.
But no, he will not. And I give him so much credit for that.
Well, again, that's such a mark of somebody who is innocent, is that because they're innocent, they certainly don't want to point the finger at somebody else that might also
Right.
be innocent.
Right.
It tends to be people who are guilty that will immediately try and say, "Oh, you need to look at this. You need to look at," etc., etc. So yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So what what I was going to ask you next,
Yes.
I gave you a bit of a heads up. Normally on a Wednesday evening, I chat with musicians. So give us an idea of the sort of music that Sandy likes to listen to.
Oh, I like a lot of different kind of music. When I was in high school, I played clarinet,
Oh
and
wow!
I loved marching music.
All right, Susan.
And yeah, yes, oh yes.
Yeah,
And I marched in the parades in my little town of Berlin. So I love clarinet. I love cello. I love to listen to cello.
Yeah.
So that kind of music I can listen to. But as far as just laid back music, I like anything country, rock, not heavy metal,
No.
but classic rock, Beatles, anything
Yeah.
back from the 60s. That's dating me, but back from the 60s, that kind of stuff, just about anything. I
Yeah.
don't like rap, as I said, or heavy metal. Those get away from me. But
Sure.
some classical stuff,
Sure. I
I,
mean, I suppose jazz.
uh, yeah, I'm not crazy about it.
No, I do
I
get the
have,
sense that there was a big sort of jazz movement in Wisconsin. I don't see
yeah,
that.
I don't know. My ex-son-in-law is a cello player, and
Right.
he loved to play jazz.
Yeah.
He played, yes, he loved jazz.
Right.
But me, Miles Davis, he loved Miles Davis.
Oh well. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. But as far as me, I can take it or leave it. I mean, it's not my favorite by any means.
I
I could
must.
listen to it.
Yeah, I must admit,
What
I
do you?
am. Oh yes, certainly cello.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Like so, Miroslav Rostropovich is probably my favorite, the Russian cellist. But
Oh,
um, the
Yo-Yo Ma. How about
yes,
Yo-Yo Ma?
but far more recent. But yeah, really
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, I like him. Yeah, he's
You
good.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
The Bach cello suite is certainly one of my favourites. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but one of the good things about Miles Davis, of course, was that for his iconic recordings, he had Bill Evans on piano, and you had
Yeah.
back in the when was that? That was the late 50s. You've got this coloured trumpeter and as white can be, pianist, and they team up together and produce something absolutely fantastic.
Beautiful. Yeah.
For me, it's I wish people would look at this sort of stuff and say, this, we're
Yep.
just the same. We're all the same. But anyway,
That's right. Absolutely. I can't stand this race thing that's
yeah,
going on in Wisconsin and all the country right
yeah,
now. It's just too much because I don't care what color your skin is. It doesn't make any difference. We're all people, and we're good and we're bad. There's good white, there's bad white. Same with every race. So I
yeah,
can't stand that.
absolutely. Well, that's interesting. So clarinet music and
Yeah.
cello. So we've
Yeah,
got a
my
couple of
favorite.
tracks for your Desert Island disc. You're allowed 10, by the way. Um,
Um,
would you consider having a couple of Stacy Sea songs along with you on your desert island?
oh, yes. I love Stacy's songs, every single one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
I think it really matters. I
Yeah.
think it matters what the name of it is. I think that's my favorite. It's an old one now, of course. That was one of the beginning ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's one of my favorites. Probably is my favorite.
Yeah.
And Mama and Papa Avery. That will always
Yes.
be one of my favorites. Truth Train is okay, but right now it makes me think of Richard all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't deal with that right now. But I
Yeah.
like it, and all his stuff is good though because it tells the story. Everything
Yes.
Stacy does tells the story, and
I
so
remember
you gotta love
listening to "Don't Get Strange" when he'd got about 10
that one.
years on it, and I absolutely love that song. And what was really funny is that obviously during Mama Making a Murder Series 1, we hear Stephen on the phone, and somebody says to him, "Don't get strange," and he says, "I ain't strange." And the number of people that assumed that it was Alan that said that, but it wasn't. It was
Uh-uh.
Chuck. It's Chuck
Chucky.
that actually says that to.
Yeah.
I remember saying that to Stacy, and Stacy saying, "Oh, it's Alan." I said, "No, it's not." I said, I even found the clip and sent it to her.
Mhm.
There you go. It's Chuck that's on the phone. They just sound so similar, I suppose. But
They do. Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, it's Chucky.
so, what sort of getting on to other forms of entertainment? What sort of books do you like to read?
Would you kind of think maybe mysteries?
Yeah.
That's it.
Have
Yep.
you read any of the books on the case? We
Oh yeah.
don't include KK's pile of toilet paper. Don't
That's toilet paper, right?
Yeah,
No, I've read Wrecking Crew and Unmaking a Murder and Beyond Avery Road and Sean
yeah.
Atwood. Is that the Unmaking a Murder one?
That was the
I think
Unmaking a
I,
Murder.
Yeah, I think I've read all of them. I like
Yeah.
Wrecking Crew the best. That's a good one.
I was going to say
Uh,
I really liked Wrecking Crew because of the fact
mm,
that it was John Farrak who
mhm.
who wrote it. I mean that reminds me what as a local living in Wisconsin and seeing all this news stuff. d- 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 I get I can't help saying that I am livid at the quality of the reporting. The reporting at times just seems so ridiculously biased.
Oh, very much so.
In fact, it even gets to the stage where you wonder: are some of these reporters are they in slight sort of fear of stepping out of line?
I think they're fear of the state. Yes,
Yeah,
and I do. And there's a couple channels here. My son works for one of the channels, but there were two other ones that went above and over the top. They should not have been saying some of the things they were saying. I won't tell you which ones they are,
sure.
but it was bad. And there was no question in their mind he was guilty. Period.
Mm,
End of story. There was no room for doubt in their minds. And the same with the newspapers. Everything that was on either the newspaper or on the internet that was published, all bad stuff. You didn't see anything good or any possibility that he may or might have not been guilty. That never entered anybody's mind. And the news people were the worst. And I remember that one of the news channels went out to the yard one day and really told him off. He didn't use very good language either, but I didn't blame him. He told him to get the off the property.
yeah.
And I didn't blame him because they're there all the time. They were sticking microphones in his face, and he'd head it. I didn't blame him any, but they were very invasive, very much. All the channels were. And as I said, nothing on the positive end, always the negative. He's guilty, period. He's going down for life, blah, blah, blah. And it was sad. And the people felt the same way around here, though. I never heard anyone say he wasn't guilty.
No.
Nobody.
Yeah.
For years, I went through this I would stand on the street corner practically and scream at these people. Not literally, but,
Yeah.
figuratively, I would. And, he's not guilty. Did you ever think about that? But no, oh no. He was proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's
Yeah.
guilty. He did these horrible things. And then you would bring up certain things to these people. Well, where's the blood in the bedroom? Where's the DNA of Teresa in the bedroom? Well, we don't know, but we know he's guilty. Why? Because he was convicted. That's
Mm,
what we would get after the
yeah.
fact, after the trial was over. Well, he was guilty. He had to have been, or they wouldn't have put him away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and do you think partly it's for want of a better word, it's image, the fact that there's this hatred of Steve because it was a quote horrible crime. We've now got the horrible person, and you even get to the stage where some people, even when people are proven innocent, they just cannot let go of that dislike for somebody just
Yeah.
because they just didn't like him,
Yep. Oh, that happened a lot around here. Like the people in Manitowoc that we talked to a long time ago, years ago. I mean, there was no doubt in their mind. They didn't even know the whole story. They didn't. The people that I talked to, they didn't know what really went. They didn't follow the case. I mean, they didn't really know what was out there. But oh, well, he definitely killed her. Of course. Well, we know he killed her. They didn't have to read anything because they knew he killed her.
It's a bit like
Well,
Jim Bray that said that he could tell that Stephen Avery was guilty by the look in his eyes.
right.
I mean,
Well,
a politician wouldn't lie, would they?
oh, of course not. You know better. That's not going to happen. Well, I
Exactly.
do remember what one person said, one
Yeah.
woman that will remain unnamed. She said that she knew he was guilty because when she mentioned the case to him, his eyes turned white. Now, I don't know if she meant the whites of his eyes or his blue eyes turned white, but she knew he was lying because his eyes turned white.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
what that meant, we don't know. But I will tease him on that a lot. I'd say, "Ooh, boy, your eyes look pretty white today." Must be something you're telling me that's not
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
people they despised him around here. They really did.
All right. It's. I mean, it's. Look. It's. it's so easy, isn't it, to jump on the wagon, if you've got a scapegoat to just, people tend to do that. They just go along, don't they?
Oh, sure.
We've got a case here in Scotland very similar. It appears as if a gentleman by the name of Luke Mitchell had nothing to do with his girlfriend's murder, but he was pilloried in the press. The police took, I think, about 6 months to actually get round to arresting him. And the case against him is just so whimsical and flimsy. And yet everybody you speak to, he was guilty. He was guilty. No doubt about it, and it's like, but there's huge doubt about it, and if there's that little bit of doubt, justice hasn't been served.
Yeah.
And when you've got the kind of doubt in Stephen Rendon's cases, it's pretty bad, isn't it?
It is. It's so sad, and I've talked to so many people that feel that way. That, well, both of them. That goes with Brendan too. I mean, they're guilty. They did it, and there's no room for anything else. They don't have any time to listen to you, and there's a lot of them out there yet. They don't have time to listen to you as you try to say it differently, try to show what the evidence really was, or in this case wasn't. It doesn't make any difference. They don't care. That they know that they're guilty, period, in their mind, and they're not going to change it. And I think we have Ken Kratz to blame for that because of his press conference.
Yeah.
I think that he ruined the whole situation. He never got a fair trial because of him.
Absolutely.
He just ruined the whole chance of a fair trial because he went and blabbed all that stuff before there was a trial. And so you just look at these two and think, well, of course they're guilty. Ken Kratz said this horrible stuff, that Brendan supposedly said. Well, I've read the book by James Patterson, by the way, Kiss the Girls.
Yeah.
And it's very close to what Brendan was forced to say. What else is he going to say? He just either watched the movie or read the book, whichever he did. And but people don't have open minds. They have very closed minds where Stephen is concerned, and Brendan as well.
Yeah,
very close around here.
Yeah. Do you think it's a class issue? I mean, having been to Manitowoc, I found all of the people there very friendly, very polite. I found a certain level of, shall we say, sophistication amongst the residents there. Some really nice big houses. And then you've got the dichotomy of Stephen Avery that lives in a caravan, basically on a scrapyard. To me, it seems like they're just different worlds, and just the fact that somebody lives on a scrapyard, it's like some sort of monster that lives out in the on this salvage yard, capable of anything. They'll
I'm sure that's the way they're thinking.
Yeah,
that's what they did. They branded him as a murderer right away, and part of it was where he lived. He couldn't be a good person, and besides, he was guilty of that rape. We've heard this too. Well, we don't care what they found, but he was guilty of it. We hear that periodically yet.
So, you'll always get people that don't know any of the facts, but yet they'll come up with this spurious idea. It must have been some sort of technicality. It's
right.
He got lucky on that one.
I've heard that very thing. He got lucky. And even now, Stephen says so many times to me, we could talk about a pardon or anything like that, getting out on any kind of a technicality or anything like that. I don't want it. I want to prove my innocence. I want them to know I'm innocent. But they never would. There's these people that are bound and determined he's guilty. It won't make any difference what they say in court. Say there's another trial and he's found not guilty. There's still going to be people out there that's going to say, "Oh yeah, but we know he did it." Well, good for you.
I think the worst case scenario for the state would be a retrial because they know that they are, they must be in a right tiz at the moment, wondering what the hell to do about this, because they've got worst case scenario, they've got somebody that's innocent, and they've got Kathleen Zellner representing him. This is only going to end one way, Wisconsin. Get your fingers out the sand. Get your heads out the sand and realize what's going on. Anyway, getting back to Sandy. We've done your favorite music, a book. What sort of films do you like to watch?
I don't watch movies very often. I don't go to movies. No. I really don't. Once in a while, if somebody takes me, I'll go. But otherwise, I'd rather sit and read than actually go to a movie or go to a concert. I'd rather do that than go to a movie. I'm just not into the movie scene.
No, so you wouldn't know what the last film is that you went to see then?
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think it's, what was the name? Oh boy, Lady Gaga's movie, A Star Is Born.
Wow.
I think that was the last one I was to.
Yeah, I've not actually seen that one.
It's good.
All right,
it's wonderful. It's the story of her, how she started out. And I never cared much for Lady Gaga. I thought, I don't really care much for her. Well, if you hear the kind of voice she actually had before they dolled her all up in these costumes, she has a beautiful voice. And it was a really good story.
Wow.
So I think that was my last movie, to tell you the truth. And that's been 2-3 years, I think. So probably 2 years.
Okay, yeah. I must admit, for Eunice and I, we're suckers for if any Harry Potter film comes on, we have to watch it. We have to stop what we're doing and watch it. Yeah. So books. So what sort of books? Well, we've mentioned the mystery books. So on I said, let me tick these off. We've done music, we've done books, we've done film, food. What's Sandy's favorite food?
Anything, as long as I can put it in my mouth. Oh, I like Mexican. I like Italian.
Oh, wow.
I like a lot of Mexican. Really do. Yeah. Enchiladas, quesadillas. Yeah, I think Mexican will be my favorite. Well, and I like steak once in a while too. Yeah. Give me a nice ribeye and I'll get rid of it. I like salads, all kinds of salads. I just like to eat.
I was going to say, I believe you recently went down to LA to see the dude, and he took you to the restaurant to get some, was it dim sum?
Oh, yes. Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
Oh, it was good, though. It was good. The first time it was good. The second time it got okay. Same thing.
Yeah.
But, I'm so glad that we did it. I am just so glad. Because I got to know Richard a little better. And, and he was so good to us.
How did you find him?
A horrible person on the freeway, I'll tell you that much right now. He did not like the cars. No. He's doing a lot of, oh, we're crying out loud, and doing a lot of choice words and in and out of the lanes, and But no, he was a lot of fun. He really was, and he sure loved his dim sum.
Yes.
And the funny part of it all is he loved this mustard.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if it had a name or if it's just plain Chinese mustard.
Yeah.
But he loved it, and he put it all over everything, and he tried to get Mark and me to try it. And it's hotter than hell. It's really bad. It would make anybody's eyes water. Trust me, it would. And so he made all kinds of fun of us because he said we love that mustard. Yep, right. But he just adored it. He thought it was so good. And I don't know if you've heard the story. Maybe Mark told it. Maybe Julie Pom Pom told it. I don't know. But we were sitting on the second day of dim sum, and he wanted a drink of Dr. Pepper. So he asked the waiter if they had Dr. Pepper, and the waiter said, yeah. And he went away and came back with a pepper shaker. And Mark's final words were, you have Dr. Salt too?
I think I saw that on the video. Was there not a video of it as well?
Of course,
I did.
Richard videoed everything.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. He is a slave to his work.
His GoPro.
Yes. Oh
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
that
Oh,
was so much fun, though. It really was. I was so glad that I went. I really was. I mean, I really was. And as I said, I got to know Richard a little bit better, and I loved his laugh. You know, he had the most infectious laugh that I've ever heard. I just loved it.
yeah. It was strange for me because whereas when I've seen him on the videos, I must admit, even on the videos, I got a slight sort of sense of conservatism about him. He wasn't, dare I say it, from a British person's point of view. We think of being Americans as being big and brash and loud. And whilst he was loud, I mean, you could hear him. That he did have a certain reservedness about him, which was quite charming at times. He was.
Oh, I know.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. A good guy.
Yeah,
So
I miss him. I miss his videos. But
absolutely.
it happened, and we just have to remember all the good times with him, and what a good advocate he was for Stephen and Brendan. And for injustice, period,
Absolutely.
And now, wrongful conviction day is coming up, October 2nd?
Yeah.
And he was planning on coming to Nina, in October also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a sad thing that he won't be involved in that documentary. What is it called? The one with the cycle shop, $50 million bullet?
$50 million bullet, yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, I'm going to let you go because it's been, believe it or not, that's 40 odd minutes, and the time has just flown past. But I was going to ask you.
Because I talk so much.
Not at all, not at all. And I must say, it's great to have you on because I think I've probably first mentioned to you about coming on and having a chat quite a long time ago, and I think you were a bit sort of apprehensive at the time for understandable reasons. But
Yep.
it's great that you're coming out and I believe you've got a live chat coming up somewhere else soon. We're not going to mention where, but I have a feeling that there's something coming up. Final question then. So we've discussed what your favorite music, your favorite book, your film, your food and stuff, and when Steve is out. So this is a desert island. Which desert island are you and Steve going to end up on?
Oh boy. I don't know. I don't think any. I don't think any. I know the first. I don't think we're going to end up on any island unless we go to Crunch Island.
Oh well.
But no, I think he's going to want to get in the car or get on a plane and go as far away as he possibly can, away from the state of Wisconsin.
Well, I would say that's pretty much a necessity this time around.
I do. I think it is. He doesn't want to leave Wisconsin, though. When you talk to him about it, he's still talking about just going in the woods and building himself this barricade in the woods where nobody can reach him. But I don't think that's safe either. I think he needs to get out of Wisconsin. I don't care if he goes on a desert island or where he goes. I think he needs to leave Wisconsin. He's going to get it again. They're going to have it in for him again, and something will happen again. I told him once, I said, you can't even jaywalk when you get out because they'll pick you up for it. And I wasn't kidding. But I don't know where he's going to end up. I really don't. And all kidding aside, I don't know. I think he'd like to take a vacation, maybe travel around and see some of the supporters. He really would like to do that. At least that's what he said.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Nobody knows.
I think he'll have Mark as a bit of a world tour guide, won't he?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. He loves Mark.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah. So a couple of things just to finish up with. I hope you've got your appointment book ready because you've got Mitch to look forward to on Saturday.
I do.
And Bob wants to get together for a chat. But where is it? It moved all of a sudden. You go and click on one of these, because I can highlight what people have put up in the chat, you see.
Okay.
And just as I'm about to click on the correct button, somebody else adds a comment, so it moves up one. So you end up missing it. So I'm going to try and get that one. Yes, here we go. So Mitch from Twitter, Sandy will be on Mitch's World this Saturday. So
yes.
So hopefully I've left Mitch with all the interesting questions to ask you, and just to go back one as well to I say what Barb put about, get together when this virus is all done and dusted. I don't think we'll ever get back to normal. That it'll always be a case of it'll be a new normal, but hopefully we'll start getting back to certainly being able to travel and stuff like that.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. And we're just getting a load of messages. Typical is this one of Alice. And I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that.
Yes, thank you.
We're very fond of you, Sandy.
Thank you, Paul.
For being such Steve's greatest supporter. It's
oh yeah.
As I say, well, you kind of touched on it. It can't have been easy, and still it can't be that easy at times.
No, it's not.
When you're trying to explain to people that just for whatever reason they just don't want to listen. But anyway, we certainly want to listen, and we'll look forward to you having a chat with Mitch on Saturday.
All right.
I think that just about wraps it up for today. Okay. So thank you very much for coming and having a chat with me. It was great to see you. It's been over a year since I saw you at Manitowoc.
Yes,
and I certainly enjoyed myself on that Saturday.
I did too, and I want to see you again soon.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll come to the rally next summer if there is one.
Yes. Well, the thing is, what we'll soon be having, it'll be freedom rallies, won't it?
Oh, I hope so.
Celebrate the freedom.
That's going to be a big one. We've already got that all planned. We planned it for years, Steve and I. So it's going to be a big one. So, well, thank you, Paul, for asking me. It's an honor to be on your channel. I mean, it is.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.